What is needed is for us to feel internally, deep inside, a degree of safety, a degree of self-esteem, a degree of self-worth that is so profound and unshakable. Hello and welcome to Hope for Dystonia. My name is Shmuel and I am the creator of the Hope for Dystonia Self-Healers Academy. I got my life back after struggling with dystonia for over a decade. And if you too are on a journey of healing from dystonia, then I highly recommend that you click on the link in the description below and gain access to the free Dystonia Recovery Kit, life-changing information that will help you really get started with this dystonia recovery journey. So in today's video, I'd like to talk to you about focal dystonia in a way that is perhaps different from what you have heard elsewhere. And I think this framing is crucial because it empowers you to actually create change. And change that is not just about learning how to do a new trick with your affected body parts, but really revolutionizing the person that you were before and after. You'll understand what I mean in a second. So in this video, we'll talk about three things. One, a new definition of focal dystonia. Number two, the deeper causes of focal dystonia that we need to take into account if we want to get better. And number three, what we can do about it. So let's start with the new definition. So we all know that the traditional definition is focal dystonia as a neurological disorder that causes involuntary movements and spasms in a specific affected body part, usually a limb, and usually in response to a specific stimulus. So it is task specific. And okay, that makes a lot of sense, but that doesn't shed a lot of light onto the roots of focal dystonia and what we can actually do about it. So the new definition that I would like to propose is that focal dystonia is a pattern of neurological symptoms that includes involuntary movements and spasms and so on, that is rooted in chronic nervous system dysregulation. And in turn, that chronic nervous system dysregulation is learned when we are young. It is a strategy that we have adopted when we were young in order to meet our fundamental psychological needs. Okay, so this is a very dense definition and I want to unpack it so that it makes sense and it actually helps you on your recovery journey. Okay, we all know about the first part, neurological disorder, spasms, involuntary movements, self-explanatory. The interesting part is the fact that this is rooted in a broader pattern of chronic nervous system dysregulation. What is chronic nervous system dysregulation? It is a way of being that we have learned at some point that forces us to live outside of our window of regulation, our window of tolerance, the window within which the nervous system can have moments of sympathetic engagement and moments of parasympathetic relaxation, right? So we have a breathing rhythm of engagement, relaxation, engagement, and relaxation. And it stays within a certain band, right, that feels comfortable for the body. There are no big spikes to fight or flight or dips into freeze. And so, okay, focal dystonia is the most evident branches of a pattern of chronic dysregulation that is actually much broader and much more long-standing, right? So how do I know if this part of the definition applies to me? Well, do I try to keep myself busy all the time because something within me can't ever stop? Or do I obsessively pour my heart and soul into something at the expense of everything else? Do I find myself really tense throughout the day? These are all signs that can point to that chronic nervous system dysregulation, right? And those signs are common with people that have focal dystonia. So, okay, a pattern of chronic dysregulation, we said, that we have learned growing up is the next part of the definition, right? Something that we developed as a strategy growing up. So what this part of the definition, what this talks about is the fact that we develop our ability to stay within our window of tolerance when we are in relationship with our primary caretakers growing up, and we are able to experience certain qualities through that relationship in a way that is consistent. Okay, that is what allows us to develop resilient nervous systems. We're supposed to experience certain things like attunement and safety and an unconditional delight in who we are. The encouragement to become who and what we want to be. We're supposed to experience these things consistently. And when we do, we develop secure attachment, we develop the ability to stay regulated throughout the ups and downs of life. We have a home that we can come back to. And when we don't experience these things consistently enough, despite the best efforts of our parents, we learn that in order to meet certain fundamental psychological needs around safety, around self-esteem, around self-worth, we need to stay dysregulated, right? So if in a secure relationship, in a securely attached relationship with my primary caretakers, I can trust that my parents, my primary caretakers, will keep me safe, they will protect me, and I can just relax and be a child, and I don't have to worry about all kinds of things that don't concern me as a child. If I can relax in that way, then I develop secure attachment, I develop a secure home within myself that I can come back to, that allows me to connect with safety even when things are challenging. Now, if my parents are overwhelmed, if the environment is not safe, if I need to do all kinds of things in order to make sure that there is a degree of calm and safety in my environment, for example, I learn to overfunction, right? I maybe become more mature than my age. I start doing all kinds of things that don't really befit, that don't really that are not really appropriate for a child, right? And I learned to stay stressed in that way. I remain stressed out because I learned that in order for me to perceive a sense of safety in my environment, with my mom, sufficiently calm, and my dad maybe not exploding or what have you, I need to take care of my siblings, I need to help clean the house, I need to fill in the blanks. Or maybe my need that is unmet is not for safety, but it's for self-esteem. And I learned that in order to have any mirroring of my fundamental goodness, or of my goodness more broadly, in order to be told that I'm a good person, in order to receive praise, I need to really work super hard, and I need to, pour my heart and soul into something without taking breaks, and everything depends on me getting that one thing right. Then I learn a software within that says, you are not good until proven otherwise. And you constantly need to work hard to make that happen, right? And so that's how we learn to obsessively focus on the instrument, on the golf practice, on you name it, right? And the activity of playing our instrument, of playing golf or what have you, whatever leads to our focal dystonia, ends up being charged with a lot of meaning that doesn't belong there, right? So the golfing is not just about golfing, it's about proving that I'm a good person, consciously or less consciously so, right? And so let's go back to our definition. Let's put it all back together. Focal dystonia is a neurological disorder that manifests as involuntary movements and spasms that is rooted in a broader pattern of chronic dysregulation, which in turn is learned through an insecure attachment process that taught us that in order to meet our fundamental psychological needs, we need to stay dysregulated, right? So in order to feel safe, in order to feel like I'm a good person, and so on and so forth, in order to feel like I matter, I need to stay dysregulated. I need to get all agitated, or I need to freeze, or I need to fill in the blanks, right? And so I need to live outside of my window of regulation, always up here or dipping into freeze. And so this sheds light on the real cause, right? The deeper cause, so to speak, of focal dystonia, which is that original wounding, right? The fact that growing up, we did not receive what we needed, and we developed a way of being who we are that leads us to stay dysregulated. And so these are the first 2 points. Now, the third, what do we do about it? So I created the Academy really to address this massive void in the whole world of dystonia recovery. Really, what is needed in these situations is for us to stop needing to spike into dysregulation in the first place, right? What is needed is for us to feel internally, deep inside, a degree of safety, a degree of self-esteem, a degree of self-worth that is so profound and unshakable that we stop needing to outsource the fundamental psychological needs that I was talking about to all kinds of activities that end up dysregulating us, right? So we need to provide ourselves, even as adults, the kind of self-esteem, the kind of care, the kind of love, the kind of unconditional positive regard, right? The ability to see ourselves as fundamentally good. We need to provide ourselves with experiences of safety that really allow us to shift something internally in the body so that the nervous system comes back to the window of regulation. And we need to learn to live from that more and more consistently, right? And the Academy is really built for that. The Self-Healers Academy is there to provide you with the tools that you need in order to speak to the little one within that didn't experience enough of that safety, that didn't build enough of that self-esteem. And speaking to the little one from the heart with love so that he gets to experience exactly what was missing. And little by little gets to practice what it's like to show up for playing the piano, playing golf, what have you, when self-esteem is already a given, when safety is available within. It is a place that we can contact and come back to. And that is what allows everything else to unfold, unravel, the dystonia loses its raison d'être, right? Its reason for being there in the first place. And then any exercise that we do with our hands, with our affected limbs, and so on, actually has a chance to succeed, actually has a chance to rewire the patterns that aren't serving us anymore. And so you see how this is radically different from other approaches that just try to freeze the affected muscles, or approaches that just tell us to mechanically repeat certain exercises. We really want to go to the root, and that is what the Academy is all about. So again, if you haven't downloaded your free Dystonia Recovery Kit, I highly recommend that you do. It is life-changing information, and it is linked below. You can access it for free. And if you are curious to learn more about the topics that we talked about, check out the other videos in the Hope for Dystonia YouTube channel. There is a video on safety, for example, that is really helpful and informative. And there are videos with specific meditations that can help you get a taste for what it's like to begin this process of dialogue with what lives within, so that it can begin to shift.